Where I live, this video's featured creature is one of the coolest spiders around. I think the overall size and appearance of a tarantula is what makes it so intriguing. Additionally, the fact that seeing one is uncommon probably adds to the mystique, and I'm sure all those details also contribute to the fear that they bring about in people. As a kid, I had pet tarantulas, so I got used to them crawling around on my arms and shoulders, and sometimes even my head. And even though it was cool, it was also a little nerve-wracking. You certainly didn't want to startle one while it was crawling around on you, that's for sure. And even though I'm very comfortable with them, I completely understand the fear that people have of tarantulas. In fact, this was my favorite part from the movie Home Alone. It's among one of the funniest scenes in movie history, in my opinion.
I got him! Hey, help me get up! I got
The Texas brown tarantula is the most common tarantula found throughout the southern United States, and it is also known as the Oklahoma brown tarantula and the Missouri brown tarantula. I think you see where I'm going with this. Insert state name here. But this tarantula can also be found in portions of Louisiana, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Kansas, and Arkansas. So, whatever state you're in, you can call it that. However, no matter what state in which you find this spider, it is always known by its scientific name. Aphonopelma hentzi. Aphonopelma hentzi? Aphonopelma. I'll put it on the screen so you can pronounce it yourself. But even though they may be scary to some, brown tarantulas are actually quite docile. However, if mishandled, they can deliver a painful bite. Also, when startled, they often put up their front legs in a defensive posture as a warning. They also have a surprising behavior where they will punch you. I have been on the receiving end of one of these punches, and it is a startling experience. Frightening, actually. Get too close and they will lift their two front legs and give you a wallop. It isn't painful, it's just shocking. One of my favorite memories of the brown tarantula involves a camping trip to eastern Oklahoma in the 1980s. It was a freezing winter night. My family and I had built quite a nice campfire. While trying to keep warm, I noticed a tarantula walking in a circle around the fire. I was absolutely shocked to see it, as it was so cold, but then I figured that it had left its burrow to warm up by the fire. After making several rounds, another tarantula appeared out of nowhere and began encircling the fire. What are the odds of that happening? I thought to myself. They were some distance apart, and I don't think they noticed each other at first. Both were moving in a counterclockwise direction. However, after a while, one turned around and began walking clockwise. When the two nearly bumped into each other, they took defensive positions and managed to walk around each other without incident. After a little while, they each walked away and disappeared into the darkness. Back to their burrows, I suppose. Many animals prey on tarantulas, but perhaps their greatest foe is the tarantula hawk. A tarantula hawk is a huge spider wasp, about 2 inches long, usually with orange wings. Adults don't eat tarantulas, they drink nectar. However, the process of reproduction for the tarantula hawk is tantamount to a horror story, if you ask me. A female tarantula hawk will often pick a fight with a tarantula, and she will win most of the time. After stinging the spider, the victim will become paralyzed nearly instantly. The wasp will then drag the tarantula to a nesting burrow. I call it a tomb of nightmares. Or she will lay a single egg on the spider. Once the larva hatches, it will slowly feed on the immobile, yet still living tarantula until the larva pupates and moves out on its own. And as I've mentioned in previous stories, the larva saves the vital organs for last so that the tarantula remains as fresh as possible. It is unknown whether or not the spider feels pain or is even aware of what is going on during this process, which often takes weeks. Now, I've seen where some people say you can't tell the sex of one of these spiders without looking at certain parts. However, from what I've read, a female brown tarantula has a more stocky body than a male and is covered in light brown or tan hair. The male is thinner and lankier, with black hair covering most of the body and reddish hairs on its abdomen. Now, this is not my photo. I found this on the internet, and this is what it shows a male to look like and what a female looks like. I'm not certain this is true, but this is what I've always gone by. Colors for both sexes are bolder after a molt, which is common in many arthropods. Texas brown tarantulas do not spin intricate webs to ensnare prey, but webbing is sometimes used to line a burrow, and a few lines of silk are placed on the ground in front of the shelter to detect passing prey. However, these tarantulas will venture out in search of food, which is pretty much whatever insect or spider they stumble upon and can overpower. Insects include grasshoppers, crickets, June bugs, and other beetles, caterpillars, cicadas, etc. Females are mostly nocturnal, hiding during the day in natural cavities in the ground, abandoned rodent tunnels, or burrows. Males wander in search of females and are more likely to be seen during the day. They may be active any time from June into October, but are most likely seen in June and September. Females can live decades, but males live a much shorter life. Tarantulas are common in grasslands and semi-open areas, but I would say most people see them when they venture into yards or when crossing roads. They are most often seen in late summer when they are out wandering, usually during the evening. According to experts at the El Paso Zoo, in August or September, females release pheromones that allow males to locate them. This is when the males are out wandering. However, according to the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, that phenomenon is not well understood and may be related to migration more than mating. Here's a range map showing all the states in which the Texas brown tarantula is found.